Hello, everybody, and welcome to College GPS. I am Wendy Tilford, founder of College GPS and Plus Education. I am so glad that you all could join us, me and my colleague, Judy Young of College Excellence this evening. We have a lineup for you, and we'd like to get right into it. But first, I want to thank you all for showing up, because one of the most important steps in this process is showing up to get the answers you need to make one of the most important steps you'll make in your life: applying for college. 4 years ago, we launched College GPS with just 2 participating universities. And until now, we only held this event in spring. But thanks to the request of so many parents, here we are today hosting our first fall session. And thanks to our participating colleges and universities, we are offering a front row seat with admission representatives from 22 schools this year. So we want to give a big thanks today for the participating schools: Stephen F. Austin, University of North Texas and Denton, Texas. Big shout out to Texas Women, University of Houston, Victoria, UTSA, Texas Tech, tongue tied today, and UT Arlington. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to go over a quick agenda for the attendees out there, just to kind of show you, just kind of give you an idea of what the flow of the evening is going to be like. The college representatives are going to introduce themselves. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, to tell about yourself and the university. We'll go right into a panel discussion. These are questions that the attendees submitted in, that we will allow all the representatives to respond to those questions. And we'll also incorporate a poll to kind of get some feedback from the families of questions, and then allow those admission officers to respond to those as well. A short Q&A sessions that we'll have, and then we'll close. Just to get in a few housekeeping, all the attendees are on mute. The speakers will be the panelists this evening. Please put your the Q&A button at the top of your screen. Put your questions and comments there, and we'll have the representative to answer those at the end. The forum will be recorded, so we will send you the link, so you'll have for your records. But without further ado, we'll get right into it, and we will allow UTSA to introduce themselves first.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Destiny Jones, and I am an undergraduate admissions counselor here at the University of Texas at San Antonio. I do work with students specifically in the Houston region. So just a little bit about like UTSA, we have a little over 32,000. So we're kind of like a baby large institution, not as large as some of the other public institutions, but also not as small. We have over 160 different degree options for you. So if you're interested in engineering, going into the medical field, anything within like the business, art, becoming a teacher, we can definitely help you out. And I always like to just mention that, for those seniors that are currently in the process of applying, we currently have waived our SAT and ACT requirement. So if you're currently applying, you will not be required to submit your SAT and ACT scores. And then if you ever have questions about UTSA, you want more information, I will also drop my direct link into the chat. That way, if it's not answered tonight, you'll still have access to me at any time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Destiny. And now I'd love to hear from Anam Iqbal from UT Arlington.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anam Iqbal from the University of Texas at Arlington. I'm an Associate Director of Recruitment, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. So UTA is located in Arlington, Texas, home of the Cowboy Stadium, the original Six Flags. All of those things are about 15 minutes from our campus, and I'm really excited to be here tonight.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anam. And Eddie Canales, if you would tell us about Texas Tech.
Hello, my name is Eddie Canales. I serve as the Houston Regional Manager for Texas Tech University. We have a team here in the Houston area that covers the whole Houston area. But a little bit about Texas Tech University. We officially have 40,000 students at Texas Tech University. We just got the final numbers today, so we're at 40,000 students at Texas Tech. We are a larger school, but not the largest in the state. And we are located in Lubbock, which is about 9 hours away from the Houston area. We're known for our engineering, our medical school, our law school, and just recently we will be opening our vet school. So that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Eddie. And Genesis Castillo from UH Victoria, please.
Hi, my name is Genesis Castillo, and I am a recruiter from the University of Houston, Victoria. So there are a couple of us as well in the Houston area. UHV is located 2 hours south from here. Of course, you guys are probably know about U of H. We're basically the baby sister. So we are right about 4,000 students. So we are more in the small size kind of school. So I myself am an alum from there, and I'm actually in grad school as well. Just turned in my discussion post. So we are a Hispanic serving institution as well as a minority serving institution, and that's something that gravitated me towards UHV as well. And again, since we are in the smaller size, our student ratio is 15:1, and like at some of the schools we are also test optional. So I'm sure that you guys are probably like intrigued of what test optional is and how the next fall and recruiting season is going to happen for you guys, and this is what we're here for. But if you have any questions, I will also put in my information as well as the link for the recruitment admissions.
Wonderful, fantastic. And we will be talking more about test optional later tonight. Thank you for that. So if we could hear from Natalia de la Espriella from SFA.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia de la Espriella. Thank you, Judy, for the introduction. I do apologize again for my camera not being on. Lots of technical difficulties, but you know what is a webinar without some technical difficulties? I am a proud alum of SFA. I graduated in the class of 2018 with my degree in public relations and marketing. I came back for round 2. I'm currently in grad school getting my master's as well. A little bit about SFA. I like to call SFA the Goldilocks school. We're not too big, we're not too small, kind of just right in the middle. We sit at 13,000 students. We have over 120 different areas of study that we offer, so something for everybody. I don't want to take too much time in introductions. I'm sure I will answer a lot of your questions later on during the program, but I'm excited to be here with you guys today. And I will also leave all of my contact information in the chat with you. So you can have that to reference later back on.
Excellent. Thank you, Natalia. And last but not least, Jillian Miller from UNT.
Awesome. Thank you. So my name is Jillian Miller. I am our Assistant Director of Regional Recruitment, and Houston is my area that I serve students. UNT is a Tier 1 research university that's located in Denton, Texas. We are a large university and just hit over 40,000 students this fall as well. And we have over 100 different degree programs, with our top programs being in business, education, engineering, and music.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. And Wendy, back to you.
All right, so we'll get in the first question, and that is, will the college admissions process change with the coronavirus? And we can start with UT Arlington.
Yeah, so for us, one of the things that changed is we are accepting a lot of things electronically, not just transcripts, but like fee waivers. Even if they're not signed, like physically signed, we'll accept them via electronic upload. We have also gone test optional, not just for admissions, but we are working on finalizing the requirements for scholarships being test optional as well because of the coronavirus.
Wonderful.
So yes, it has changed. It's just gotten a little bit easier to submit documents and getting admitted.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And next, we'd like to hear from Texas Tech, please, from Eddie Canales.
Hello. Our biggest change is definitely that we went test optional. We started going test optional around March when that first test got canceled. And so with that, we decided to keep it, and we are test optional for scholarships as well. Another major change for Texas Tech is that we now accept the Common App, and we will soon be a coalition app school as well later on. But those are some major changes for Texas Tech, both scholarship and admissions test optional.
That's great. Great information. Thank you so much, Eddie. And Destiny Jones from UTSA.
The biggest change will just be being test optional as well. It's not required for students to send the test scores, but it is highly recommended. Um, Other changes that were happening already, and it just happened at the right time, is that we are now on Common App as well. And then the same thing about like sending documents, we've made it a little bit easier by actually having a document uploader. So students are able to submit their like fee waiver documentation, maybe residency forms, different documentation that they need for admissions. They're able to easily submit it through our document uploader.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. That's great information. And Jillian Miller, please.
Yeah, so we have two changes. The biggest one is that we're test optional, but we also changed our guaranteed admission to have a GPA requirement for students who have not taken the test. So if students have a 3.0 out of a 4.0 unweighted GPA, they can also receive guaranteed admission.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. That's great to know. And Natalia, if you tell us a bit about SFA, please.
Yeah, sure. Very similar to everybody else, SFA has gone test optional for fall 21. While it is an optional requirement for admission, it is not required as a part of the application. I still highly recommend taking it if at all possible. College Board has given us word that they are going to offer the exam as much as they can this fall semester. So some of our scholarships do require the test score, but it is not required for admission. So that's
Okay.
pretty much everything else is kind of the same as everybody else.
Okay, thanks. Great to know. And Genesis Castillo, please, for UH Victoria.
Yes. So we are test optional as well. One of the biggest changes is that because we're test optional, our admission requirements, you're not like there's two different admission requirements. So I think that's pretty neat because if you're test optional, there are certain criteria that you need to meet. And if you decide to go with, you know, the original admission requirements, then it'll stay the same. So that's mainly our biggest difference with the test optional option.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Wendy, I guess back to you.
All right, so we'll go to the second question. And how can students find out about the school as many campuses are now closed due to COVID? So how could the students get more information about the schools? And Eddie, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I would say we're actually open, and we have staff on campus, and we've been open. And so we start tours actually next week at Texas Tech. So for us, the biggest resource is definitely going to be our website. We have lots of virtual resources for you all, and I'll definitely put it in the chat. But the biggest thing is going to our website and connecting with our teams. Our teams are currently doing daily presentations, whether they're admissions presentations, they're doing either college-specific presentations. All that can be found in our virtual resources site. Like I said, that I will provide there. But come visit us for sure if you can. We are open, and we're open to a limited basis, and we definitely have a cap on how big our tours can be. But then the other thing is use us, the people that are here in Houston. You have specific admissions counselors that you work with. You're seeing some of them here. And so definitely use us as your main contact for the university to get that information that you need for sure.
That's excellent. Thanks so much, Eddie. And Anam, if you could talk to us about UT Arlington, please.
Yeah, so we are also open. We just open for in-person tours, very, very small in-person tours, mask on, all of that. Aside from that, we do have virtual tours on our website. We are having several virtual events, not just the college fairs that are coming up in the Houston area, but about once a month, we have events called Freshman Fridays, where it's a chat box. You can meet with not just admissions representatives, but the different colleges here. And our preview days have also turned online. So students can still visit us in person, but if they're not able to come up or they don't feel comfortable coming up, we do have a lot of virtual events going on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's great information. And Destiny from UTSA, what is your situation?
So for us, we are not doing any in-person tours, and I do not know of any set date for us to return at this moment for in-person tours. So our best bet will be to connect with the admissions counselors. We make it real easy to find our contact information on our website, and then just our website in general. Even before everything shut down, we had a whole website dedicated to our future road runners. And we did a really good job with like making sure all the information about the institution, about applying, financial aid, things like that, were listed on the website. It's easy to read, and it's very easy to navigate as well. And so we also have a number of different like virtual events going on, tours, sessions where you can talk with students, current students. You can even schedule a time to receive a phone call from a current student just to hear from their experience. So the best bet will definitely be to check out our Future Road Runner website.
Wonderful. That sounds fantastic. And Genesis, if you could talk to us about UH Victoria, please.
Yeah, so a little like Destiny, what you did say, we are not open for tours. We don't have a set date where tours will be provided, but there's a lot of things that are on our website as well. And we are providing a virtual JAG Day. What is JAG Day is basically like a preview day where you get to kind of see what the institution looks like and stuff like that. So it's really neat. Of course, it's our first one, so that's gonna be really interesting. But we're excited, and like everyone else, we're really, honestly, your recruiters are your best resource. We want to help you. We want to talk to you guys. I know because of COVID, it makes it like impossible to meet in person, but we're all there for you, and we all want to make this transition as easy as possible. So like, listen to all of us. We are here for you, and if you reach out to you or reach out to us, we'll for sure get back to you and try to help you as much as we can.
I'm sure that's great information for families to hear. So, and Jillian from UNT, what is your status?
Awesome. So everything's going to be virtual for us, whether that be events or tours. But there are a few ways that students can contact us, whether that be a virtual one-on-one Zoom appointment with admissions counselors, a live chat on our admissions page. And then for our tours, they're still led by our student ambassadors, so you still get to hear the student perspective.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that with us. And Natalia, on to you for SFA.
Yes, so we are open at SFA. On-campus tours did resume this past week, so we're excited to have you guys back on campus. I think it goes without saying that there are a lot of safety measures being put into place, masks, whatever, 6-foot social distancing at all times. There's a limit on how many guests you can bring, all of that fun stuff. But alongside of being open back on campus, our virtual information sessions and virtual tours are still staying. We do understand that not everybody is comfortable going back to visiting campuses, so there is a virtual tour happening as we speak right now, and then we also have daily Jack Chats, which are information sessions on different areas all around campus. Yours truly hosts a lot of them, so if you're interested, I will leave those links in the chat for you so you can check them out.
Fantastic, thank you. And I don't think I missed anybody. So Wendy, back to you.
All right, perfect. Guys, that Natalia is with Stephen F. Austin. You can't see her; she's having technical difficulties. So those attendees just joining in, just wanted to bring that up to your attention. All right, so we did our first poll, and we have our results in. Yay!
Drum
So
roll.
the first drum roll. So the first poll was: if your college is now test optional, is there an advantage to submitting a strong test score? So I'll share the results with you guys. And then when I share the results, I also go into the third question so we can sandwich those together. And the third question was role of an SAT and ACT and other standardized tests in the process, as many tests are being canceled and students may have fewer opportunities to test. So what role will the SAT and ACT be taking in this process? And if a student does get an opportunity to take that test, what type of advantage would they have in the application process, if any? So yes, no, maybe is what the results of what the attendants believe if submitting that score. And we can start with Stephen F. Austin.
Awesome. Yes. So we, the biggest suggestion for me to you guys is to submit a test score for scholarship purposes. Like I said earlier in our introduction, it's not required for admission, but some of the scholarships that SFA does offer do require them. Not all of them do, but that is my biggest tip to you. Obviously, if you are in the top 25%, you're automatically admitted into the university, but if you're under that, then that is also a benefit to you when the admissions committee is looking at your application. So it just depends. Like I said, we will look at everything else if you don't have a test score, but I do recommend taking it if at all possible. It'll make your life easier along the line for other scholarships, outside scholarships, things like that.
I think that's great advice. Thank you, Natalia.
Yes.
And Jillian Miller from UNT.
So we are not requiring that test score, but if you want to be eligible for any of our scholarships, I do recommend students to take the test if they have that option. Same thing for admissions, since we're not requiring it, but you have taken the test, and if you meet guaranteed admission, still submit them so that you don't have to go through like an individual review process if you don't have those test scores.
That's great advice. Thank you. And Genesis, what about UH Victoria?
So I clicked no, but it's basically the same thing. In terms of scholarships, maybe it would be helpful, but it's honestly, when it comes to like, you know, your test optional, if you don't have the the test score, then it's not going to hurt you. And quite honestly, there is one scholarship that I recommend some of the students, and we look more into your GPA and your class rank. So that's why I clicked no, is because that is the presidential scholarship, and that's a very popular and only like a handful of students get that scholarship. So that's why I said no. It's like that we mainly look at your transcript rather than your test score.
Okay, that's great to know. And Destiny, can you talk to us about UTSA?
Yes, ma'am. So just like everybody else, we are test optional this year. For us, test scores, if you are able to submit test scores, we do highly recommend it. It will open you up to some scholarships. There are some merit-based scholarships that they have not removed the test score requirement just yet. And it will also allow you to be fully admitted as particular majors. So there are some majors, some colleges within the school who are still using the test score as a requirement in order to be admitted as underneath that engineering degree, underneath the College of Business. So there are perks to that. But even if you, do not have your test score, it's still fine. You're still able to be looked at for admissions into just our general admissions and also our major specific requirements as well.
That's great to know. That's good information. And what about you, Anam? What about UT Arlington?
Yeah, just like my peers, it's only going to help you. It'll just make your, some scholarships do require it still, especially a lot of our external scholarships. So if you have them, go ahead and submit them. And if you don't have them, that is okay. We have other options for you. It doesn't hurt.
Okay, fantastic. And Eddie, can you talk to us about Texas Tech?
Yeah, so for us, if you have a competitive test score, then I would recommend that you submit the test score, meaning I want you to look at our scholarship criteria on our Presidential Merit Scholarship. And so there is a scholarship that you may qualify based on your class rank and the SAT score. Now, if you don't have a competitive scholarship or a competitive score, and you can tell by that by going to our admissions page, and you'll see our assured admissions criteria. If you don't have a competitive test score, honestly, I would probably recommend that you go test optional. You're still going to be reviewed for scholarships no matter what, but I would say look at the scholarship criteria and look at the assured admissions criteria at Texas Tech. And I'll put that in the chat. But if your test score is not competitive, then I would talk to your counselor, talk to your admissions counselor to see if, hey, should I submit a test score or not? Because if not, then you can go test optional, and this is where we're going to look at you holistically, and this is where that other part of that question means. So we're really going to take a deeper dive into extracurricular activities, the essays, the letters of recommendation. We want to look at you holistically, and so that's where that's going to play a little bit bigger role in that. But the short answer is, if it's a competitive test score, then yes, submit it. If it's on the bubble or you're not 100% sure, talk to your admissions counselor. then we can work through that as well. Okay.
And can you briefly define what competitive means?
Yeah, so for us, we consider a top scholar 1200 and above. So 1200 and above on the SAT score. And so if you're in the top quarter and you have a 1200 and above, you would qualify for a scholarship. And so, yeah, I would say but we could say anywhere between, our average SAT score is about 1170. So it can go from 1100 to as high as possible, but I would say, that's something that I would personally consider a competitive test for. And again, I'll put our charts on here, that way you can kind of compare yourself to what that criteria is and see where you are. You may be in a short admission with the current test score that you have right now, and then I would probably submit your test scores. But
so something close to the average score or above is what we're looking for. Okay,
right.
Well, Wendy, back to you.
All right, perfect. Great response. All right, we'll go to question number 4, and that is, how will colleges consider grades and class rank this year? Some schools have moved to pass-fail options, and classes have been canceled through the end of the school year. So we'll start with Julian.
Awesome. So we only look at your class rank if you submit a test score. So if you're not submitting a test score, not a problem. And then grades, that's gonna weigh more heavy for us right now, since we are gonna be basing things off of GPA. So we're gonna look more at the classes you're taking and how they weigh. I'm taking like AP dual credit, things like that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And Genesis, what about you, Victoria?
Yes. So sorry, something popped in my screen. We are looking at your transcript, and that's really what's gonna help you and to get into and get admitted with our admission requirements, because our original admission requirements is to meet 2 out of the 3, which is to be top 50, have a 2.5 GPA, 18 on your ACT, 940 on your SAT. So if you meet 2 out of the 3, then that's going to help you. But of course, if you're going test optional, then your transcript is the only thing that you're submitting, and that's what's going to, affect your admission requirements. Now, if you do not meet either or, then you would go in through an individual review, and then it'll be a different, basically like a different admissions process.
Okay, great. Thank you for explaining that. And Destiny, what about you, TSA?
So for students who school is that they're still using class rank, top 25% has automatic acceptance, and then everyone below there will fall automatically into our committee review. So even before all of this, students who school didn't rank, there are a lot of schools who, if you are in the top 10% or even the top 25%, your counselor will give you a letter saying that you are in the top of your class. I suggest that you ask your counselor where your rank is, and if you can receive that letter, that way you can get the automatic admission into the university. If you're not using rank, y'all have moved to pass fail, we will look at either the previous grades that you had. We will also look at if you're taking AP, pre-AP, dual credit, IB courses. We'll look at all of that to see the kind of rigor that you have. And then of course, we'll backdoor and look at your involvement and things like that to help come up with an admissions decision. But if your school does not rank, I do encourage you to at least talk to your counselor, your counselor at your school, to see where you fall amongst your classmates, because typically they can look and see where you fall and provide you with a letter if you are in the top part of your class.
Fantastic, that's great to know. Thank you. And Natalia, what about SFA?
Yes, so very similar to UTSA, our top 25% is automatic admission, and then the rest kind of falls from there into a file review process by our admissions committee. So I think it's funny how all of our schools are very similar, just with slight little differences here and there, but very similar to UTSA.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. And Anam, what about UT Arlington? Anything additional to add?
You know, I like to follow the other UT schools. So just like UTSA, we are also top 25%. You're automatically admitted as long as you submit all the required items. Everyone after that, you go through a holistic review. We're looking at the rigor of your classes. Were they AP? Were they dual credit? Were they, what grades did you get in them? And so that's pretty much it with us. Now, if your school doesn't rank, we look at your GPA as well. If you don't have a GPA for whatever the reason, then we just look into your application in detail.
Okay, well, I'm sure that's reassuring to some people. And Eddie, what about Texas Tech?
Yeah, so grades are extremely important at Texas Tech and rank. And so grades determine your class rank. And so from there, that's where you kind of fall into two spaces. One, if you do take the test, then we're going to look at your class rank and your SAT score. If not, then you go test optional. We're going to look at you holistically, but we're still going to assign you a rank or look at the rank and look at your grades a lot. And I would say grades talk. Grades matter the most. If you're an underclassman, grades matter a lot. And so, and for the seniors right now that are applying, just know that we are definitely at Texas Tech looking at your grades. And for us, that's what matters most for sure. So, I mean, that's the short answer, but to say that rank is important, absolutely at Texas Tech. And again, if for some reason your school does not rank, then we will assign you a class rank based on our own internal ranking system that we have.
Okay, I hope everyone heard that loud and clear. About
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed someone. I think I did not. So Wendy, back to you.
All right, so we have our second poll in. Let's in and look at the question.
Roll, please.
Results. And the results are, how long do you think a college admission officer spends on reviewing a college application? Questions are 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So UT Arlington, how long does it take you to review an application?
You know, it really depends on the student themselves. So, you know, we're
Get disorganized.
yeah. You know, we're test optional, and we're reviewing applicants under holistic review. So if you, the student, are not filling out the application in detail, where it asks for your extracurriculars, where it asks for, you know, when you submit your class schedule and stuff on there, if you're not taking the time to fill that out, then there's not much for me to review. But if you fill it out in detail, for us, we don't require essays, but if you submit the essay, we don't require resumes, but if you submit a resume, you have given me so much more to review. So when I saw that question, I was like, it's really up to the student. If you give me stuff to look at, I will look at it. But if there's nothing for me to look at, then it's kind of quick, right?
Right? So you want the additional information so you can get a view of the students, is what I'm hearing, correct? You want them to submit that, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I want to get to know you. I want to get to know you besides just your name and your grades on transcript. What makes you you? What makes you a good fit for my school?
Perfect. So I hope everyone out there heard that. Okay, and what about Genesis? Can you talk to us about UH Victoria and your thoughts on this?
Yes, so I personally do not review the students' applications. Thankfully, because if not, I would omit everybody. But one thing I will say is that if you do have communication with your recruiter or your counselor, it's very beneficial, because a lot of the times the admission in the admission side, they do reach out to us and ask us about you guys, or if we know anything about you guys. So even if it's like a small conversation, I will say like, oh yeah, like this person has done X, Y, and Z in order to, you know, complete their application, or whatever it is, whatever communication that we've had before, it is even a little bit is significant. So yeah, so thankfully again, I don't remember, because you get accepted, everybody get accepted at UHB. But side note, guys, in the panelists on the chat, I saw that we have been replying to all panelists and not all panelists and attendees. So if you guys want to like redo your information, and everyone else, we are putting our information so you guys can reach out to us.
Thank you for catching that. We appreciate it. Okay.
It keeps doing that. I thought I put it on. Okay.
And Destiny. Thank you for covering
Those
it.
panelists and attendees.
Oh, for me, honestly, it does depend on the student. So there's been some applications where I can look at in 5 minutes because they don't put anything. But on average for me, it probably takes me about 10 to 15 minutes max for some applications, just because I'm kind of like Genesis. I want to admit everybody, but I know I have to like really look at the student and really think about the student's well-being and if they will really thrive at UTSA. So I typically take about 10 to 15 minutes, but we do want those additional documents. We want those essays, we want those letters of recommendation in order to get a better view into who you are as a student and as a person.
That is great information. So things are not optional. Send them in, you guys. Okay, and Jillian, if you talk to us about UNT, please.
So I chose 2 to 5 minutes. I mean, it's really easy for us just because we have those guaranteed admission requirements. So if you meet those requirements, you're admitted, we're going to move on to the next person. But if you are going to be in our individual review process, it does take a little bit longer because we do have to read an essay and 2 letters recommendation, but it does not normally exceed 10 minutes because those are normally about a page long. So it doesn't take very long for us to review them, especially those of us who are a little seasoned and have been here for a while and can just move through them faster.
Readers we have here, very talented people. Natalia, Natalia, how about this?
Yes. So for me, really, the more information you give me on the page, the better. But I can usually tell by a student's transcript or a student's academic history how well they are prepared for that next step in their college career. So it really just depends on the application and the student itself. I cannot stress enough, like I'm saying this in bold and highlighted and italicized, fill out your applications all the way. I know it's very tiresome to fill out the same resume and the same class schedule 15 different times for all 15 schools that you're applying to, but please, please, please fill it out. It makes my job easier. It makes everyone else's job easier, just so that we can admit you. Some admissions counselors are very nice, and if you forget that information for whatever reason, they might reach out to you and say, hey, send me that extra info. But a lot of the times the quantity is just too much to ask every single student to send me more supporting documents. So if you get anything from what I'm saying is fill them out all the way.
Fill them out for the ones you want to get into, you guys. Okay,
Yes.
and Eddie from Texas Tech.
Yeah, so reviews are actually a big part of what we do. So basically everyone in undergraduate admissions at Texas Tech does reviews. And so on a given day, like for example, I currently have 10 reviews that I have to do by the end of the week. And so I'll probably do anywhere between 20 to 30 reviews a week. And then on top of that, I serve on the review committee where it's just managers. I think that's where we make the final decision to see if a student's admitted or not. And what we do, we pull up your transcript, we average out your grades for English, history, math and science, and foreign language. Then we look at your AP or any rigor. Then we want to look for to see if you have any failing grades. Then we'll review all your essays, letters of recommendation, and any extra documents that you provide, whether it's a resume or anything like that. Then we go on and make the decision. But we review, as a review committee, we'll probably review the reviews, the reviewers' review, if that makes any sense. So we double check the review again to make sure that's the correct decision that we're going with. And so then another added feature this year is that we're also reviewing for scholarships. And so for all those students who are going test optional, we're saying, hey, does this student get a $1,000 scholarship or a $4,000 scholarship in the admissions criteria, in the admissions team? And so it's extremely important to do what everybody else already said, the essays, the letters of recommendation. If anything is optional, I would personally recommend that you do it. But that's for Texas Tech.
That's fantastic, and that's great information. And I hope people heard that there could be the possibility of committee review. Okay, so Wendy, back to you.
All right, great. Next question. Will your college be open in the fall, or do you expect classes to be online? If classes are online, do you expect that to change the cost of the attendance? And we can start with University Houston, Victoria.
So as of now, actually starting from the beginning of this fall, we actually did open, and it was optional if you wanted to live on campus. So in regard of that price, I guess like you can say that it is different because living on campus would add to your cost. But if you decide not to live on campus, then you would be saving that cost of resident hall and dining hall, or yeah, the meal plan. However, when it comes to tuition and fees, it would stay this. I'm so sorry, my dog. When it comes to tuition and fees, it's the same. There won't be a price change because ultimately we're receiving the same you know, the same education, even though it is through Blackboard. A lot of the times there's where myself, like because I'm in grad school, I know that, you know, our professors are making themselves even more available in order for us to like contact them and if we have any questions and things like that. So in regards of tuition, no, but it depends on you if you want to live on or off campus. That is an option as of right now.
Fantastic, thank you. And Destiny, what about you at UTSA?
So as of right now, there's been no formal decision about what the fall will look like, if we'll be, you know, all online or back on campus. I do know that like with UTSA, we were already moving towards offering more online courses for students. So this just kind of thrust us forward a little quicker. I know that they would like students to be fully back on campus if possible and if it's safe. As far as cost, the cost probably won't change too much. They did adjust some of the costs for students this fall. So like there are a couple line items that were adjusted because majority of our students did elect to do like their online, fully online, and they're like at home, wherever that may be. But as of right now, I'm crossing my fingers that we'll be back on campus and everybody will be able to experience the full like campus life. But there has not been a decision formally made yet.
Okay, that's great. I'm sure everybody hopes you all can be back on in person. So Natalia, what about SFA?
Yeah, so SFA is currently back on campus this year. If things continue to stay under control, I don't want to make any formal statement, but it's always the hopes that students can be on campus. It makes up the experience of going to college, obviously, but SFA has also adopted a like hybrid flex model. So you can live on campus if you still want to get that experience, but choose to attend class virtually. So there's some options there. It all depends on what you choose to do on your cost. So if you are living on campus, but you're attending class virtually, you'll obviously still be paying for housing and room and board and things like that. So cost really depends on your options and what you decide to do. But again, the hopes is that we're all on campus next year.
That makes sense. Thank you. And Jillian, what about UNT?
Yeah, so we're a little bit similar to SFA. We do have courses that are on campus right now, but that is not all of them. Most of them are going to be online or hybrid. And then for your cost, again, if you're going to be at home, you wouldn't have the housing costs, but all tuition and fees, those are all going to stay the same.
Okay, thank you. And what about you, Anam, at UTA?
Same as UNT's. We do have classes on campus. Some of them are hybrid, some of them are all online. The cost is only affected if you're living at home, because tuition fees are pretty standard all around. Okay. But we're actually hoping, fingers crossed, right, that will be open in the fall. As of right now, no official announcement has been made though.
No official announcement. Okay, we're hearing that tonight. And Eddie, what about Texas Tech? What do we know?
Yeah, so Texas Tech did open in the fall. We have students in the residence halls, and most of our freshmen, for the most part, have at least an in-person class. And so we have a hybrid mix as well. And then like UTSA, some of the line items kind of came off, but for the most part, cost of attendance basically stayed the same, with just a couple of line items here and there. But we are on campus. We're trying our best as we can. We definitely moved some of our bigger classes into bigger areas of study, but for the most part, we're trying, and so, but yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And Wendy, back to you.
All right. So we have our third and last poll. So the question was, how many of the essays submitted does a college admission officer really read? None, a quarter of the essays, half of the essays, or all of the essays. So we'll start with UTSA. So do you read all the essays?
Yeah, we read them all. Like whatever you submit, we do read them. Just because that is our way of getting to know like who you are as a student. And this year it's going to be even more important for us to really read those essays. So yeah, whatever you send us, if it's accepted, you know, if you get an email back that says like this document was denied or, you know, whatever the case may be, if it was accepted, it's put into your file and we read it.
Fantastic. And what about you and at UT Arlington?
Yeah, so since we don't require it, I always tell students, think of it as extra credit. It's there to help you. So if you're going to submit the essay, yeah, we're going to read it because maybe there's something that's going to help you. So we do read all of them because we don't require them. It's extra for us.
Fantastic. Extra credit. I like how you say that. Eddie, how about you at Texas Tech?
Yes, for sure. That's definitely something we do. We're trying to see the best picture of you, and the essay definitely gives you that opportunity. And so, and we're also trying to go to bat for you whenever we go to the review committee to see, hey, why should we admit this student? And the essay definitely gives you an opportunity to do so.
That's fantastic. And I hope people heard that, you know, it gives you an opportunity in front of the committee. So Natalia, how about you at SFA?
Yeah, so if there's an essay available and I'm reviewing a student, I'm going to read it. It'll give me, hopefully it'll give me some sort of insight, not just your test score and your grades, but you as a student, what else did you do? What else are you involved in? So not all of the time, but a lot of the times I will read an essay. Like most of us, they aren't required. So it is an extra component that you can turn in, but it's never going to hurt you for sure.
Okay, Jillian, did I already hear from you?
You did not.
Okay.
Yeah, if a student submits that essay, we're going to read it. So we're reading more now because more students are submitting them since they're not submitting scores. So send them in and we will read those.
Fantastic, thank you. And how about you, Genesis?
Yes, so I personally, if the student sends it to me, then yes, I will read it. There's sometimes that, you know, when the student is going through an individual review, that's when they will submit the essay, and the admissions committee will, you know, read that essay. But if the student, you know, I'm your recruiter and you're turning it into me for me to turn it into admissions, I'm more than likely going to read it. A lot of the times it has came from the admissions is that to make sure that you guys are following, you know, the requirements that they're asking for. Just giving an example, it is a 2-page essay maximum, and we had a student who submitted a 4-page maximum. So, you know, that sometimes doesn't look very well because it seems like you can follow instructions. So, you know, I reached out to the student and say like, hey, how about we narrow it down? So sometimes that is kind of like helpful for you guys, so that way you don't get rejected immediately or just gets denied or anything like that. So personally myself, for the students who submit their essays to me before to the admissions committee, I will read it.
But I would say probably not, you will not always be fortunate to get a call, so read the instructions. And
Yes.
But that's very nice. Wendy, back to you.
All right, so we'll ask questions. Do you expect major changes in financial and merit aid options for the students for the upcoming school year? And we can start with Texas Tech.
I mean, I definitely see, I know people have been impacted by this pandemic in different ways. And for us, the biggest thing is you have to let us know. We definitely have aid available for you all, and we definitely have some resources available. But the other thing is you have to let us know if you have had major changes, right? And it maybe starts by reaching out to your admissions counselor. And then your admissions counselor goes to bat for you with the financial aid office. But if you go out to our financial aid website, there's a special circumstance form, and this is where that's going to be that opportunity where you can let us know. But I definitely have seen the impact of COVID, whether somebody can't pay an application fee or somebody can't live on campus anymore, and we've definitely made adjustments, and we are well aware of what's going on. So do know that the universities, they're working and they're trying their best to provide as many resources for everybody. But the biggest thing is let us know in any way that you can, for sure.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure people love to hear that actually admissions officers are trying to help.
Yes.
That's really
Yes.
good to hear. And what about UT Arlington?
Yeah, same. That special circumstance form, if you need it, use it. It's there for a reason. We don't know, right? So just because you submitted your FAFSA super early, October 1, and we start reviewing it, doesn't mean that November 1, something has changed. So we also have it on our financial aid website, the special circumstance form, and if you need it, use it. We are working as much as we can to accommodate with everything going on, but we need to know in order to be able to help you.
That makes a lot of sense. And Destiny, how about UTSA?
We also have that special circumstance form, so submit it if you need it. But as far as just like our regular scholarships and things like that, they're the only scholarship that I can see a really big change to, or that we're still kind of waiting to hear back for, is our Distinguished Presidential Scholarship. That one typically uses SAT and ACT scores and class rank. And so they're in the process of reevaluating how we will hand out those scholarships. And then some of our larger scholarships, like our Top Scholar and our Terry Scholarship, they are opening up to more holistic review. So I feel like this is actually more beneficial to students, because students that may not, may have missed the cuff by just a little bit, maybe last year, this year students may be able to get into those different programs. So some of our scholarships are moving to a more holistic review. So that's going to give students even more options, but they look at your application. So those apply texts, that application. That's why we really stress, making sure that you complete it in its entirety, putting all your information down and submitting those supplemental documents.
Fantastic. And Genesis, what about U of H Victoria?
So we also have the special circumstance, but it's called UHV Cares, and that is also an application that you'll submit. And then obviously, like everyone else said, we won't know until you tell us. We also have additional scholarships, and one thing that I actually really encourage our students is social media. Because you can make yourself aware so much. UHV, especially during the summer, for incoming freshmen, holds different challenges. And actually, I was part of the social media team, and I was like really excited that a lot of the students participated. And it was simply like sending a picture or sending like, what did you do for your graduation? And some of these, some of them were like prices to like of gift cards to Best Buy. Other things were like $500 scholarship, things like that. And at the time you might like, oh, it's just $50 or it's just $500. But the thing is that once you like put everything together, it really adds up. So stay on the lookout for that. Right now, obviously social media, I'm like a super social media person. So everyone's like tuning in, making sure like they're staying up to date with the latest news and things like that. But a lot of the universities do use social media as a platform of communication.
Yep, good to remember. And Jillian, what about UNT?
So we also have a special circumstance form. But for scholarships, our scholarships still haven't made a decision on how they're going to review those, if there's going to be any changes. So before it was based off class rank and test score. So just making sure that you're aware of what those requirements are so that you can receive as much aid as possible.
That's fantastic. And how about you, Natalia, at SFA?
Can you guys guess what I'm going to say? So along with the special circumstances form that all of us have, we don't know what we don't know. So let us know if you do need that additional help. Your admissions counselor is your first point of contact for anything that you need. But our main SFA scholarship application has not changed. That is a firm February 1st deadline. So it's a one general scholarship application that puts you into a pool for all of the scholarships that we offer. So some of them have requirements, some of them don't. That's why earlier I did touch base on the SAT optional. So if you can take it, take it. But as far as everything else, all of our scholarships are still being offered, but you do have to meet that February 1st deadline.
That is great information. And Wendy, back to you.
All right, so we have one final question. Attendees, if you have any questions that you would like the panelists to respond to, please put it in the Q&A box, and we'll share that with the panelists. But the last and final question is, how would extracurricular be considered, since many schools and outside activities, as well as summer programs and internships, have been canceled? And we can start with Stephen F. Austin.
Yes, so while we understand that a lot of things have been canceled, a lot of them have started to start back up again. I actually had this conversation with someone earlier. Whatever you can do, do it. Obviously don't spread yourself too thin, but the more initiative you put into your application and into your resume, we're gonna see that if you put it on paper for us. Even if it was a virtual internship that you did, or even if it was a virtual conference you attended, that still counts. Don't take away the credit for it just because it was virtual. It's definitely taking up your time. You're definitely investing hard work into those things. So don't include it. Don't knock it down just because it was a virtual whatever. I will also say very quickly, the more that you put on your resume does not mean that it's going to impress us. I'd rather see you stick to one thing rather than you do basketball, softball, volleyball, track and field, like 17 different things. I personally love to see consistency. So if you have something that you're passionate about, make sure you kind of continue that through. But we are definitely making sure that we take into account the current climate of the world, but don't discount your things that you're doing just because they're virtual and you don't think that they're going to count.
Fantastic, thank you. And Jillian, what about UNT?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of SFA because all of that is true for us. But I would say that our essay and letters recommendation would weigh a little bit heavier than extracurriculars. So those are going to be a little bit more important for us. So still fill out your extracurriculars, but I would work a little bit harder on the essay and letters of rec for sure.
That's great, great advice. And Genesis, what about UH Victoria?
Yeah, so for us, I guess like those things, again, kind of like Natalia said, just try as much as you can, but obviously like we also know what's happening in the world, and it's really going to go, all those things is, and at UHV is really whenever you write the essay for like the specific scholarships, if there's like a essay requirement. Other than that, you know, I know like for us, if you're speaking about like also like sports events and stuff like that, I know there's like a lot of times that students are trying to try out to be in the soccer team or things like that. So those things I'm a little bit unaware. I know that everything has been moved to the spring, but in terms of tryouts and like recruiters going out to look at students and stuff of that nature, I'm actually not familiar with. But for sure, if you are trying to reach out to us and we can figure it out, because a lot of the things is that we don't know where this pandemic is leading us. So there's a lot of questions unanswered because of the things that we don't know this pandemic can take us.
Makes sense. And can you talk to us about UT Arlington?
Yeah, so letters of rec and essay way heavier for us, but keep in mind, similar to what SFA said, if you've been involved in somewhere for a long time, we'll see that on your application because you put that on there. Your letters of rec can be from a coach, from a teacher, from something that you have done extracurricular all those years. And we'll also see that like, all right, maybe this year didn't happen for whatever the reason, but I can tell you've been involved in it for all those other years. So don't be discouraged just because things are virtual or things are getting canceled. There's so much room to put things on your application that we can still get to know you.
That is fantastic. I'm sure very reassuring to people. So Destiny, what about UTSA? Do you have anything to add?
Pretty much similar to everyone else. For us, I would say our letters of recommendation, the essay, and extracurricular activities, they all fall in one pot for us because it's the letters and the recommendations are not actually required. So they kind of all like fall into the same pot. There are a lot of opportunities to still be involved virtually in different things. So definitely don't knock those things. And if we see that like, oh, you've taken the active, you've actively gone out and like search for these different opportunities and you didn't let it stop you, then, you know, that's just a plus for you. So definitely put down anything you're doing virtually. And like they said, you know, consistency. If we see that you've been in this organization for, you know, 3-4 years, we can still see that you are an active person. And that's kind of what we want to see. Just, you know, what your interests are, what you're active in, and that consistency.
I love that, the consistency. And Eddie, you'll round us out from Texas.
Yeah, so I'm just going to echo what everybody already said. I mean, the biggest thing that I want to say is just know that we know what's going on as well, and we're also feeling it as well. We have little brothers and sisters that are also going through this, and so, but yeah, I want to echo what everybody said. Just do the best that you can with what you have, and definitely try your best to tell your story through whether it's extracurricular activities or the essays, letters of recommendation, etc.
And one thing I'd just like to give you a minute to respond to is, what about someone who maybe has other obligations and they can't do their extracurriculars because lots of things are coming up for people in terms of personal circumstances?
Yeah, I would say like you got to let us know. We'll only know what you tell us, right? And so it's not like we're asking your counselor, hey, what's going on? Maybe this comes through the letter of recommendation that they have family obligations. On your application, I think most of us are Apply Texas, there's a question that says, hey, do you have any family obligations or any types of obligations, right? There is a question about that. If not, go ahead and put that in the essay or a letter of recommendation, but you have to let us know. Otherwise, we won't know, and we're assuming that, hey, you have the same. We know that everybody's different, and everybody has very different dynamics at home, but unless you let us know, then we don't, and so.
And I'm sure that would be true for all of you here tonight. You have to let people know what's happening. So thank you for that. Wendy, back to you.
Okay, we have a question, a question in the box. And it says, if a student is applying to a school that has a music program, are the entry requirements different for that student? I'll start with UNT, since you guys have a great music school.
Yeah, so you would apply to UNT and then apply to the College of Music and then go through an audition process. And all of that information is found online. So depending on what program you're interested in, we'll show you those requirements for your audition.
Okay. Anyone else want to respond to a student in music, seeking out a music program?
So for us, we don't admit based on major, but you still have to audition to get into the School of Music. And so you could be admitted into Texas Tech, but you may not start off in the School of Music unless, I mean, for some reason you don't do too well in your audition. But we do require an audition to get into the School of Music, but not into Texas Tech.
Anyone else?
I'll go. Yeah, same with us. We don't require a separate application for our school or our music program, but you do have to audition. However, you don't have to be a music major to join our marching band or several of the other ensemble groups. So if you know you still want to continue playing your instrument, or you really love being in color guard and you still want to do that in college, you don't have to be a music major to do that. There's separate audition processes for that. So whatever school you're looking into, look into what they require for non-music majors.
Fantastic, thank you. Anyone else?
Ours is very similar to UT Arlington. If you want to actually major in music, you'll apply underneath the College of Music and then you'll do your audition. Our marching band, actually 80% of our students are not music majors. They're just kids who love playing their instrument. They love marching band. So I don't think they have like a formal audition process, but you know, they'll just want to hear what you can do and then you'll proceed from there.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Did we hear from everyone who wanted to talk about that? Okay, well, Wendy, back to you. I was gonna just ask a final question. Is that okay, Wendy?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what I'd like to hear from each of you, we've tried to cover a broad range of topics. For each of you, is there anything we didn't cover that you'd like to take a minute to talk about for your school? And I'll start with SFA. If there's not, that's okay too.
No. I guess my biggest tip I will leave with you guys is reach out to your admissions counselor as much as you can. I get so upset and so sad when I call you and don't answer the phone. I want to talk to you. We're not scary people, I promise. The more that you communicate with me, the better. We can build a relationship, and it's a lot easier to answer your questions. I recognize people's phone numbers when they call me, so it's a fun time. The more you communicate with me, the better. I promise you, we're not scary. Your 15th email during the week does not bother me, I promise you. So we're not scary people. We're here to help you. So I'll just leave you with that.
Very generous. Thank you, Natalia. How about you? What's anything we didn't cover you'd like to put in there?
Did she say me?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like, I did not hear you. No, I don't have anything to add. I back everything that Natalia said. Just reach out to us. We're here to help you. And we want to help you through that process. And whether you decide to attend our school or not, we just want to put you in that right pathway for you to set you up for success.
This is like the nicest admissions officers ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Genesis that's great. This is awesome. Genesis from U of H, Victoria.
Yes, I'm same. I can't memorize your number because I have like short-term memory. I barely remember my name. No, I was kidding. But no, most honestly, just like everyone here, we're here to help you, but we can't help you if you don't reach out to us. And we want to hear from you guys. This recruiting season looks so different, and I promise you that we all work here and as admission counselors, and we all love talking to you guys. So the fact that the fact that we can't like physically see you guys or like talk to you, I'm pretty sure most of us feel the same way. It's pretty dreadful sometimes. And we're just waiting for your call, your email, your text, whatever it is. And we're mostly everyone's super chill. Everyone is just like down to earth and ready to hear your questions and help you. And it is a very different, like I said, different recruiting season, but we're here to help you, and we're on it. We want to hear from you.
That is so fantastic. Okay, Destiny.
Definitely like everybody else, reach out to us I just want to say, like, anybody that is thinking about applying to UTSA, just as a reminder, make sure you fill out the application, and then also our scholarship application. We can't actually give you money until we have that scholarship application, so you want to complete that. Judy, you brought up a question earlier about, I think about like disclosing, if you have any situations going on and things like that. Common App has inputted into their application a separate box for you to specifically talk about the effects of COVID-19 and the coronavirus. So that this is just me, just kind of thinking out loud, if the opportunity to fill out an application via Common App for a school, I would say do that, because then you can talk specifically about, like COVID-19, coronavirus, and the impact. And then in your essay, you can focus on the other things that, you want to display, and it won't take away from your word count. So you kind of get like an extra little blurb with the Common App. But yeah, just do your best, take your time on your applications. And because ideally, what I tell my students is, I'm looking for a reason to admit you. I'm not looking for a reason to deny you. I want to admit you. I want you to come to UTSA. But if I'm looking at it and I'm seeing all these different things, different pictures and things like that, then I gotta slide you into my deny pile, and that's what I want to do.
They're going so sad when you guys leave. No, come back, everybody. Okay, and how about you at UT Arlington?
Yes, reach out to me, send me an email, give me a call. However, I also want you to come and visit me. All of our books that we send you in the mail, because you're going to be getting a lot of things in the mail, all those emails that we send you, they always send you the prettiest picture on the prettiest day. It's how you feel on our campus that's really going to make or break your decision. And right now, with things being virtual, you cannot, well, you can, it'll be super socially distant, masked up, tours to our campus, but talk to us on our virtual events. We are sitting at computers waiting for students to come and talk to us. Don't just click around in our booth, but like actually when it says chat with us, chat with us. We want to help you. And it really does give you a good feel for not just the campus, but the people that are here.
That is fantastic. I mean, I'm sure many people did not know that. And what about you, Eddie, Texas Tech?
Yeah, I just wrapped up my 10th year doing this, and so it's flown by, and I'm thankful for you all. And so, to be honest, this job is the coolest job in the world, and because we get to help you go fulfill your dreams, right? And so, the biggest thing is use us and go to these things, right? Use your resources, and I just kind of want to echo what everybody already said, that we're here to serve you at the end of the day, and we want to help you get to whatever your next is. And so that's what's really cool about our job, and we want to connect with you. And so it starts with doing these little things, like showing up to a panel on a Tuesday night where you could be anywhere else. And so, but continue doing these little things. Go to your college fairs, talk to your college counselors, listen to people who know about this field. More importantly though, definitely reach out to your admissions counselors and your school. So that's really the only thing I have to say.
Thank you so much. You guys have just been amazing. I'm sure people out there are just glowing. This is great. I'm going to go to all these schools. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Last words. This has really been amazing.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a good night. Thank the attendees. Bye for now.